Welcome to a presentation about Java 8 default and static interface methods. This presentation is made for Mr. Cummings. And first, let's review what interface is. So, the interface is basically a class that defines abstract methods, but it doesn't do anything. So it says every class that implements this interface has to do whatever I say, but interface doesn't decide how they do it. So consequently, all the concrete classes that implement an interface have to implement every single method in that interface, like here. So the student class implemented two methods that's defined in the interface. That's generally considered a very good practice. Actually, we have this programming rule called code to the interface. So now ABC software needs to design an interface for a system. The small part of the system is to decide whether a student can pass a class. So they came up with this perfect interface called class passable. It defines two rules for every student who wants to pass a class. First, they need to do the labs, and second, they need to do all the exams. This seems perfect, and they want to ship this code. It just seemed too nice. Okay, so now they ship this code to China, and some code from China thinks, okay, this looks good. We have 200 classes that implement this interface. We have students, we have retarded students, we have artistic students, we have all kinds of students, but doesn't matter who they are, as long as they do all the labs, they do all the exams, they will pass the class. So things seems nice until one day that the president said, now the Congress had decided that every US student has to do a presentation to pass classes. Holy crap. Now that means now the students they have to do one more thing to pass the class, which is to do presentations. But ABC software didn't expect this. They didn't design a method into the interface. So the boss got mad, and now they need to change the interface. And since ABC software is not exactly a responsible software company, they decided just to change the interface and call everything good. And we changed our interface, we did our job, we don't care about anything else. Go do it. Okay, so they published the new interface, and the same coder from China clicked an update button in the GitHub GUI, and now everything's wrong. Everything has a red squiggly under it, and the system was corrupted. Everything goes wrong, and there are 200 classes that need to be changed because they all need to implement the new method that's been declared in the interface. So how do we solve this? There's no way we could solve this unless we tell the Chinese coder to code 24 hours a day for 7 days to fix the problem. And I think this gives like Java haters more reasons to hate Java, because in C# the way the Microsoft solves it is by introducing extension methods. Now, the reason that every class needs to implement the interface because it said so, the compiler said so, and there's no way to solve this, but there's a trick. So in a deep down level, essentially every method is a static method. No matter if it's a static method or it's an instance method. In the deep down level, there's no instance method at all. Seems counterintuitive, but it is how the program works. It is how the language works. So every static method, as long as they appear to be instance method, they need to keep track of which instance this static method belongs to, and then they call the method under that instance. We have this illusion of instance method. And even though it's kind of like a hack, it does help programmers to keep things together and keep things tidy. So it's just something they're interested to know. But Java hasn't been able to solve this problem for a long time. So I imagine like a lot of programs in the world have experienced in significant frustrations for these kind of situations. I imagine the way they solved this could possibly be they write a new interface that extends the original interface and make the classes implement the new interface, something like that. That's just my guess. Could be tons of other ways. So now days are different. Technology is advancing, and the Java God came to earth and says, let there be default and static methods in Java interface, and bam, there's default and static methods in Java interface now. So how does it work? So Java interface now is not a bad boss who doesn't do anything. Now we can declare a default keyword right before the method declaration and give it a body. Says this method does this thing, and the concrete class which implements this interface doesn't have to implement the default method. They can just be the way they were, and they can still do what the default methods can do. You can just call the default methods within the concrete class, even though the concrete class didn't implement that method at all. Or if you think that the default method implementation isn't what you want to do, you can override that default method to make it do what you want to do. So that seems a pretty neat solution. And for static method, it's even like it's kind of strange because you put static before public instead of putting public before static like we always do when we declare static methods. But yeah, but I don't think that's a big deal. Seems kind of weird when you do that. Could be a very good trick interview question, a very good reason to drop your salary for like $1,000. Yeah, that's what companies do, right? Find every reason to pay you as less as they could. So if you have a static method in the interface, you couldn't call that method from the concrete classes. Instead, you call them directly from the interface class. So it's an interface dot that static method, and the time when you can use the static method is when you have utility methods, utility classes, like maybe math class or a filter class that filters all collections. That'll be very good implementation, very good place or situation where you can use static methods in interface. So now Java 8 saves the world, everybody's appreciated. And that's basically how you use Java interface class. But Java default methods and static methods in interface. I don't see how we can use this technique in school projects, but it's definitely very, very useful in real world development. And I think that's a feature that surely a lot of programs will use in the future. So this is the presentation. Thank you for watching.